A money lender, advances ₹100 to B, an agriculturist. A, by undue influence, induces B to execute a bond for ₹200 with interest at the rate of 6% per month. The actual advance was of ₹100. However, because of undue influence, the money lender has induced the borrower to execute a bond instead of ₹200, and interest rate is also extremely high, 6% per month, which means 72% per annum. This is a clear case of undue influence, and in such a case, court may set the bond aside. The contract may be set aside, but it is not completely, absolutely set aside. At the same time, the court may order B, that is the borrower, to repay the ₹100 which he had borrowed, and with what interest? With just interest, not the interest which was specified in the contract. The interest specified in the contract was very high. The court can reduce it to a reasonable and just level. So maybe just 1% per annum, or even 0.5%, 1% per month. That is 12% per year, or even lesser than that. So this setting aside is with conditions, and this is the situation which was envisaged under the second part of this provision which we just did, that in this case the contract is set aside, not absolutely, but upon conditions. And this has happened because the borrower had already received some benefit under the contract. What was the benefit? He had received ₹100 and he had used them for a certain period. So the borrower must return that amount, and he must also pay interest at a reasonable rate for the period for which he is keeping that money to himself. And that is why this order can be done. This is possible under section 19A. So here what is happening? The court is interfering despite the fact that there was no free consent. If we go strictly by section 10, the court should have nothing to do with such an agreement, because the first condition mentioned in section 10 is not satisfied. Therefore, it is not enforceable by court. Court should have nothing to do with it. But because of section 19A, court can interfere. Court can set aside the contract with conditions